question of why we lose our mindfulness so very easily in post-meditation stage is, of course, number one, I think, is one doesn't understand the whole context of what a meditation really is. People take meditation as the actual practice, post-meditation is something that's going back to the normal life, whereas the actual interpretation is that meditation is just a preliminary to the actual mindfulness that has to be practiced at a state which we mistakenly refer as post-meditation. I say mistake because we use the word post, we almost think it's an out of meditation kind of an interval. So it's not like watching a movie and then you have intermission where you can go and get popcorn and drink your coffee or go to the bathroom and then sort of relax and then continue with your movie. If one has that kind of an interpretation, it is, I think, a very big mistake, because the actual meditation begins when you get off the cushion. But in order to be able to bring in the permeating awareness that is sort of brought into a formal situation by the formal meditation in the post-meditation state, as I said earlier, the basis must be in really having worked with the teachings, the view. The view is very important. So if you take even the very preliminary, outer preliminaries, such as the understanding of how rare and precious your human life is, if you really believed in that, you wouldn't waste time being seduced by habitual patterns. In the same way, if you have really investigated on impermanence and seen it, glimpsed it, seen it, how true it is, and that then becomes a kind of a genuine experience and a belief, a devotion, a faith, a confidence in, then that understanding of the impermanence itself would be strong enough to not allow the distinction between a meditation and a post-meditative state. Likewise, if one really believed in karma, cause and effect, if one really had confidence in the knowledge and the understanding of cause and effect, one would not succumb to the daily distractions, the habitual distractions, again and again. If one really understood the suffering of samsara, one would not have the courage to refer back to those causes again in a post-meditation state, because you would really understand the importance of bringing into realization the truth of the cessation that must happen. And so the cessation and the willingness to bring about the cessation of the cause of suffering not being there. You know life is precious, but you really haven't given it that much of a thought that it becomes really clear in your mind. Or we do know about impermanence, but at the same time we forget about impermanence. The confidence is really not so good. Likewise, karma, we do understand what cause and effect is, but we don't really believe in it to that degree that it would awaken us from our state of dullness and carelessness. So where the basis, the foundation teachings and the view of the foundational teachings are weak, then of course meditation will become very separate, kept very separate from whatever we do. And so you see meditation as a spiritual thing to do, post-meditation is going back to normal life. And that separation does tremendous damage. It comes out in the form of being more acutely aware during the meditative state, but post-meditation succumbs or is seduced by the distractions. So for post-meditation state to be just as wakeful and aware, and a state that is not separated from, almost sort of non-separation from a meditation state and a post-meditation state, I think strengthening the view is very important. With this reflection, we hear the teachings and then really reflecting upon them, contemplating and investigating them to a degree that it becomes your own view, not the view told to you by somebody else that you have to believe, but it becomes your own view because you see it as it is. And when that really permeates in your mind, then the willingness to embody the teachings comes much more sharply, more acutely. And that, I think, will help in the non-separation of the two states.
Thank you.